Greetings, I am Cornell, and I'd like to take this time to thank you for you taking the time out of your day to watch my Inducted Fan Drone build video. Also, I would like to point out that the drone in this video that I designed, I'm going to name it the Europa Lander, and that name was inspired by my participation with NASA Message in a Bottle mission to Europa, where they're going to send a spaceship called the Clipper, scheduled to launch this coming October 2024. Okay, now with that said, I wanted to point out, as you can see, these parts. There are parts that's sitting in front of me. These parts are these parts are 3D printed parts that I designed myself on a platform called Tinkercad. And as you can see, I printed the parts out. These are going to be the parts that I'm going to use to actually assemble, which will form my quadcopter, or I should say my drone. And I also plan on having a launch as well, or a maiden flight. So, on that note, I hope you enjoy the video, and I appreciate any and all patience, because this is my first build video, and you probably can tell that. So that pretty much ends the intro. So now let's move on to the build. I'm going to begin the build with the receiver and the flight board installation. Also, I would like to add, the flight board is already pre-programmed. Now, as far as this particular receiver from FlySky, I'm going to use this one here because this one is actually already binded. This one is not. I just want you to see that it does have an antenna on there. Unfortunately, on this one, the antenna broke off, but I can still use it, okay? So let's start the installation. You're first gonna put it in. You're gonna put it in. Oh, I'm sorry, this right here is a bracket. This is a 3D printed bracket, okay? A receiver bracket mount. That's what this is. Now, this is the way you put the receiver in. You're gonna put it in like this, basically like upside down. See how the antenna is hanging out? Then you're gonna take the antenna and you're gonna insert it in the antenna holder. That's what these little slots are, almost like tubes are, okay? If you turn it over, you see you'll have access to all the ports that you're gonna plug in the wires, okay? Now you're gonna put the screws in. I'm sorry, you gotta first grab this right here. This is part of the, I'm sorry, this is called the lid cover, and this is part of the overall drone, okay? And the way you're gonna put this, it goes under the bottom, okay? And what I usually like to do is, this is the front here, and as you see the antenna, you want the antenna going through the back, okay? See the antenna here, and this is the front. So you're gonna put this right here, and the screws are going to go here, okay? As you can see, the screw goes here, and I'm gonna use this screwdriver for that. Okay, that's one screw here. Now the screw is not completely tight because you want to get them all in first. Get the screws in get the screws in first, and then you tighten the screws up, you know. So I'm gonna get all the screws in first. Okay, now a little tight, and you don't have to tighten it too much. You don't want to strip the screws or damage the part. And these are 3D printed parts that I designed in, as I made reference before, on the Tinkercad platform. Okay, now there it is. See? As you can see. Okay, now the next thing is going to be to install the flight control. Another thing about the flight control, there's an arrow. I don't know if you can see the arrow. Let me see if I can point it out. There's an arrow right there that's indicating the orientation of this flight board. That will be considered the front. That means that everything's going to move that way. Okay, and this is right here. As you can see, I have front written on there to kind of help give you orientation. So you're gonna put the flight board. Another thing too, I already have the screws already in there. See them right here. And I had these like little, I guess you can call them, I like to call them inserts. They like rubbery, the little red, little bands you want to call them, I guess, or inserts. And they're actually holding the screws in place, okay? And the purpose for them is to absorb vibration, okay? Primarily from the motors. Now, remember, this go in. This is the front here, and this is the front. And here, the screws, right? The screws are gonna be fitting in here. See the four. You say the holes for the screws. So I'll put one here. Oops, I'm sorry, wrong screwdriver. Gotta use this screwdriver. Okay, here. And here. Trying to get them all in first before I start trying to tighten them down. And I'm gonna look at it from the side to make sure that I'm getting them as level, getting the board as level as possible, you know, as far as screwing it in place. You can see the screw going down. And then here. It's going down. You don't want to over tighten it. Whatever you do, you don't want to over tighten it. I'm actually looking right here. I don't want these squashed down too much. You know, the little red, I'm just gonna call them little inserts. I'm gonna go down a little bit more. Okay. Like I said, the flight board is already pre-programmed. Now, there's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can find that will show you exactly how to program this board. Okay, what I should have did was put the, I guess you can call it like the little buzzer on here. I didn't put the buzzer on here. So let me go get the buzzer, and, you know, so I can put that on there. You're actually supposed to put the buzzer on. In fact, I'm gonna have to take this off so that I can put the buzzer. I can probably lift it up a little bit. I don't believe I have to take the whole thing off. I forgot about the buzzer. I suppose they brought the buzzer. Sorry about that. All these little parts. Let me see if I can do that without having to take the whole thing off. Sometimes we make little mistakes like that, but hey, when we do what to do, we got to do. Okay, and lift it up. See how the flight board is lifted up a little bit. Now what I can do is I can pass this wire through. See a little slot there. That's where the buzzer is going to be on that side. And then on this side, okay. Now the buzzer is secured in there. Okay. Now to tighten it back down. Tighten it back down. And you kind of want the buzzer there, you know. There we go. Because when you activate the board and all that, you'll hear the buzzer beeping and stuff like that. So, okay. Okay. That looks about right. Yep, that's about right. Let me tighten up just a little bit there. And there. Okay, now, so what you want to do is plug that onto these plugs right here. Some plugs right, or some leads right here. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. So the buzzer is plugged up. Okay. Now, the next wire would be, I like to use this wire first. And this, because this actually helps for me to orientate everything. And this is, you notice, you have, let me put this that down. Now check this out. You notice this wire has 3 plug. This is gonna be plug-ins. See them? 3 on one end and 1 on one end, and then it's just have 1 and 1. Okay. Always remember that the white wire or the yellow wire are called the signal wires. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is this. The first thing I'm going to do, that is, I want to slide it through here, the first hole here, the first slot, you know, called slot. And then I want to make sure that the signal wire is pointing towards the screen, okay? So I'm going to put this in first. Okay. I get it. Okay. Yep. It's in there first. Okay. Let's see where the wire is. It's pointing towards the screen. Okay. Now, I like to do it this way. I like to take this here. I mean, you could do it either way. As far the next one goes into this hole here or this slot. Except what you're going to do is you're going to do it on the side line, but you want the signal wire to match up with the signal wire. See the yellow here, the yellow wire there. So you're going to plug that like this, okay? Almost like an L shape. See, it's almost like an L shape. See, it's like almost like an L, right there, like an L, okay? But you see how the white wire and the yellow, these are signal wires, okay? And the other wires are just negative and positive wires, okay? Okay, so this right here, that's wired up that way. Okay, now what you're gonna do, you're gonna flip it over. And remember, this one right here, remember the first wire, a lot of times the wires will all be yellow. These are just 2 different wires, but it doesn't matter. It's just the colors, okay? So the color doesn't really matter, meaning that most times you buy a KK board, because that's what that flight board is. you're going to get the wires. The wires are either be, the signal wires going to either be yellow or they're going to be white. You're not going to get them yellow and white, okay? Now, if you look at the, almost right here, you can see the list of the channels right here from channel 1 all the way up to battery. So what I'm going to do is this. You're gonna put this one in first. At least that's what I like to do. This one in first. Okay. Remember this. Now the signal wire is going to be pointed towards the numbers or the channel. You see it say. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if you can see that. We gotta focus. Come on, focus, focus. It's not focusing. There it is. Let's say CH1, CH2. That's just. Okay, that just means channels. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the first one in. Okay, come on. There we go. I got the first one plugged in. Okay, now after putting the first one in, now this is what you're going to do. The next wire go in is going to be signal. Okay, the next one, let me not plug it in as I say. It's a real tight fit too, unfortunately, but oh well. Okay, another thing too, make sure like the signal wire, and look at it, you notice how it's only got one wire in there. So put this wire in first, but make sure that it's the signal wires like towards the numbers, just like you did the first one. Okay, we're gonna plug that in, and then it's gonna go signal wire. Then the next wire is going to be the positive wire, okay? The positive, okay, they go to positive. And the last wire, which is a brown, and if you notice on here, it's black, okay? That will be the negative, okay? Then you're going to put that in there like that, okay? And once you do that, you're done. Your flight control board is wired up and it's ready to go. Okay, it's ready to go. There we go. The flight board is ready to go. There you go. That's the first phase of the build. The flight control board is installed. As you can see, the receiver is installed. Okay, and so let's go on to the next phase of this build, because the build is actually built in 2 stages, you know, an upper and lower, and you will see as the build go on. Okay, the next build is the installation of the motors and the ESCs. Okay, so this concludes this phase of the build. Okay, this phase of the build is a wire check to ensure that the flight controller is properly wired. And I'm going to use my Fly Sky transmitter, a battery, as you can see, I got a motor, an ESC to perform this wire check. And the way I'm going to do is this. I'm going to first, when it comes to the flight board, I'm going to plug the ESC right here. Now remember, when it comes to, remember the yellow wire is the signal wire. I want to make sure this is plugged in. Okay, that's plugged in. Remember, these are already been plugged in, as you can see. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I already plugged the motors into the ESC. Now what I'm going to do is first is this, and you always do this. You notice the battery. I'm going to hook the battery up right here. However, you always want to turn on your transmitter first. Okay. Another thing too. Never activate a motor with a propeller on it. As you can see, there's no propeller on there, okay? Now, here we go. We're gonna turn on the transmitter first. Okay, I got the transmitter on. Okay. Now, the next thing I can do now is plug the ESC into the battery. Make sure, see the wires? See the wires? That's positive. I'm sorry, yeah, positive. Red is positive. Black is negative wire. Now you're here. Okay. Here everything came on. You heard the beep noise. Okay. And if you look at the flight controller, I don't know if you can actually see it, but it's saying safe. Okay, there it is. It says safe. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is, in order to get this motor to operate, if everything is wired right, let me hold this motor. Okay, because this motor got a little torque to it. Okay, can you see? Let me hold this thing. Let me see. Okay, there it is. Okay, now the next thing I have to do is I have to arm the motor, and the way I do that is by way of the transmitter. Okay, what I got to do is I got to move the stick. I believe I arm it to I got to move it to my left. You know, I think I got it set up that way. Well, we're gonna see. If not, you move it to the right. But I'm pretty sure it's to the left. If not, just move it to the right. Let's see. We'll see. I'm talking. So let's see. Come on. I ain't got the best camera. Okay, say save. Okay, here we go. We wanted to go to arm. Okay, it's to the right. Okay. There we go. See it say armed. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push up on the transmitter. As you can see my hand. See right here. And you know it's on arm. So let's see. The motor should spin. There we go. There you go. Okay, we good. So the wire checks out. Everything is wired up. I had to, now I'm gonna take it off arm, okay? So let me move it. There we go, back to safe, okay? And you get a chance to hear the beep. See that? I mean, you hear that beeping noise that's coming from the buzzer that's on there to let me know what's going on. Okay, well, that ends the wire chase. I mean, the wire test, the wire test. Okay, so I'm going to unplug the battery. That'll shut the flight controller off. Okay, now I can turn off the transmitter. There we go, and that ends my wire test to let me know that the flight board is ready. Remember, I mentioned before it's already pre-programmed. And there are plenty of videos online to show you how to program this flight control. I'm gonna unplug the ESC too. ESC just stands for electronic speed controller. That's all. Now, so we're good to go. We know the flight board is operational. Now, I'm going to move on to the next phase of the build. And as I stated before, that is to install the motors now. Okay. Moving on to the next phase of the build. In this demonstration, I'm just installing an on and off switch. As you can see, the setup, here you go, like here's the setup. There's the motor, as you can see. Here's my distribution board. Here's my on and off switch. And I'm going to R8, as you can see. Let me turn this off. Okay, now, turning on my I just turned the transmitter on. So, let me plug this in. Okay. As you can see, the flight board came on, it's in safe. Now this here, I'm gonna turn it off. There we go. Now it's off. Now let's turn it on. Okay, now let's arm it. Move it. This time we know which direction to move the joy. I'm just call it joystick, and we're gonna move it to the right to arm it. There you go. It's armed. I don't know if you can see it, say armed. And so I'm gonna give a little throttle and the motor gonna kind of jump around on the table a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry. I gotta lift it up. There we go. Woo. I should have had that secured, but that's okay. We know it worked. Okay, let's take the arm off back, moving it to the left. Now it's back. I don't know if you can see it. It's back in safe. Okay. So let me unplug this. We see that the on and off switch works. Let me turn off the transmitter, and that's it. Because I prefer to have an on and off switch on my build, opposed to just the on and off switch being when you unplug it. Okay, I didn't want that. I wanted to actually install an on and off switch, or a power switch, I guess. Well, that ends this demonstration on using an on and off switch, you know, in this build. So that concludes this demonstration. Now this stage of the build is the installation of the motors. As you can see, this part here, this is called frame A, okay? And these are the 4 inducted fan units. And now this is kind of crucial in this build to make sure that the motors are installed properly based on the propeller, because one motor is going to be spinning clockwise and the other motor is going to be spinning counterclockwise, okay? And the way we're going to do it by, you know, first of all, let's orientate this part here, because this is where the motor is going to be installed, okay? You know, in these little couplings right here, okay? Now, this part has a front. As you can't really see it, but if you look right here, it says front. You know, you can feel it says front. It's hard to see, but it says front right here. So what we're going to do is this. The way I like to install it, to make sure that I got the orientation right, I'm going to turn it from the back. Like I'm going to put front to the back. Cause this, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I'm going to turn the whole unit around. So I'm looking at the back of the unit. This would be the back of the unit. So this is now the front. So the way I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put the clockwise motor here, the counterclockwise motor here. And normally what I do, okay, I don't know if you can see that. Okay, let's do this over again. Clockwise motor is here and counterclockwise motor is here. And usually what I do is this. I always put whatever motor, like if I'm going to put the clockwise motor here, well, I automatically know to go across. I like to go across, okay? And that means the other the clockwise motor will go here. And here, go this way, and the counterclockwise motor will go there. And the way they're going to be attached is like right here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's holes that goes there. That's where the screws are going to go, okay? And as you can see, I got 8 screws here, so it's 2. That's going to secure each motor in, each of the motors in, okay? Now, let me get my orientation back again. Okay, here go front. So what I'm going to do is this. Now, here's the part that's crucial, is when it comes to the motors themselves, because we got to install them based on the direction of the propeller, the pitch of the propeller, you know, the leading edge and the trailing, okay? So let's start, let me see. To get the right motors, okay? This right here this is the right motor here. If you can look and see, this is where I'm pointing to, that's the leading edge here, okay? That's the leading, and the trailing is over here, but this is the leading. So we got the leading edge here and the trailing. And if you look at it, this is the motor that's going to go. I mean, this is the clockwise motor, okay, that we're going to install. Now, that's gonna be positioned here, okay? Now we're going to find the counterclockwise motor, okay? Now here's the counter right here. As you can see the trailing edge here, but I like to say the fat part right here. That's it. That's the leading edge right here. But this is the trailing. I'm sorry, this is the leading, this is the trailing here. So I probably have a diagram to show exactly the correct configuration, okay? But right now, as you can see, because if you look at it, if you put them together, you can see, kind of get an idea on the way the propeller. See how this is in here. You see how the trailing here, and then the leading goes to your left, and here you'll see the trailing edge here, and you'll see the leading edge go to your right. Okay, so that's that. So the clockwise will go here, and the counterclockwise will go there. Okay, so that's since we're going to install the first one, and this is going to be the clockwise, and when I put it in there, okay, it's like this. If you look here, let me turn it upside down. If you look here, the wire from the motors are going to come out here, okay? So let's install this again. Let me make sure. Let me grab first let's put them in there. Okay, let me reorientate myself. Okay. Where the front at? Where's the front? Oh, there it is right there. Okay. So let me put this in. Oh, one second. Okay. Okay, let's put the wires. I know my fingers kind of covering it up a little bit. So I'll just put them in and then I'll show you them being already put in. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's in, they're in. Okay, now let me pull them through. And you want to turn the motor in the direction of the whole, that's the whole unit, okay? There you go. Okay, let me see how the wires are coming through. Okay, so you want it like that. Alrighty. But now we're gonna put the screws in. I'll put the screws in from the front, okay? This ain't the best print, but it is. I gotta work with what I got. This print takes hours. I think this print takes like almost 24 hours to do this print that you see me holding in my hand. It's a 3D printed part. Okay, now. And this is very important to remember too. Like you see, I'm putting the screws in. Right here, you can see a little distortion right here. See it right here. That's okay. It'll still work. Okay. That's not too bad. Okay. Now, and you really don't want to over tighten this. Now this is very crucial, what I'm about to do, and that is this. Spin that motor. And see, it's not even spinning, it's tight. So you got to loosen it until that motor spins, okay? It's still not spinning. So, let me make sure. Okay, it's in, okay. Yeah, and you keep doing it till that motor spins. Okay, and that's very important because you don't want it rubbing. Okay, and you make sure you do all the motors this way. And if you listen, you'll hear it spins real good. You hear that noise? You shouldn't hear that. That means it's rubbing. Okay, so let me loosen it here. Loosen it right there. Okay, you hear that? That's the way it should sound. You shouldn't hear nothing else. That's it right there. Okay, just letting you know that it's in real good. That means nothing is rubbing, and that's what you want. You do not want this thing rubbing, okay? Now, I'm going to install all the other motors now. Let me see the front. Yep. So this was the next one, the counter rotating one. Okay. So I'm do the same here. Same here. Okay, get on in there. Okay, there we go. Let me turn it. Let me pull the leads out. Okay, the leads are pulled out. And grab 2 screws. One screw at a time, rather. And we're going to do all 4 motors that way, okay, to make sure that they're not rubbing. Because sometimes this thing will squeeze it where they'll rub, the motor will rub. And you don't want that, because that's going to damage the housing as well as the propeller. Okay, so you don't want no rubbing at all. Make sure there's no rubbing. Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna put them all in, and then I will let me see. Oh, that one actually did pretty good. That actually came pretty good. Okay, these 2 are installed, as you can see, and they looks perfect as far as the counter. Remember, this one is clockwise, and this is counterclockwise, okay? Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come across with another clockwise. And let's find the clockwise. That's the other clockwise, okay? So, let me get them. Yeah, I'm trying not to knock the camera over. Okay, so you can see. Okay, I'm pushing it through. There we go. Now let me turn it. Okay, there we go. All right. Sorry about that. Okay, 2 more screws. I know I'm all over the place. I'm trying to get it where you can see. Yeah, I normally don't film myself while I'm assembling these when it comes to my projects, period. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Perfect. Spins real good. Okay, now put the last motor in. Come on, get in there. There we go. Okay. And as you can see, it was real easy to put these motors in. The only thing you have to be concerned about is making sure you put the motors in a, put the orientation correctly as far as the clockwise and counterclockwise configuration. Because if you don't, it's not going to fly right. Okay, if they're not in right, this thing is not going to fly. It's going to just flip upside down and all that. It's going to do all kind of crazy stuff. So you got to make sure that those motors are in correctly, meaning as far as the clockwise and counterclockwise, that has to be correct, installed correctly. And if you get them in wrong and it do all that, you just have to just take the motors out. That's all, and put them in right. If you didn't do it correctly the first time, that's all. And you really don't want to do that because that's going to be some work. Okay, because the next phase of the build, let's see, there we go. Because the next phase of the build is installing the ESCs, okay? And in installing the ESCs, you have to make sure that you're going to test the motors right now. I mean, to make sure that they're spinning correctly, so you know where the thrust is. If it's because it's going to push up like that, that means that motor is wired correctly as far as when I put the ESCs in, okay? And I'll show that as well. Because once you install everything, you're not going to have access to switching the wires to get the motor to spin in the correct direction, okay? So just remember that. So don't just plug in the ESCs without calibrating the motors right the first time, okay? So as you can see, it's done. Here we go. Okay. And here, this is the bottom. This is what the bottom looks like. That's the bottom. And that's the top, okay? So that concludes this stage of the build. Now, the next would be the installation of the ESCs. Stay tuned. The next phase of the build would be installing the ESCs. ESCs mean electronic speed controllers. And here they are. And there's 4 of them in total. That's because each motor gets its own ESCs. Now, what's crucial is the way that the ESCs have to be installed. Starting with, we're going to turn this on this side, okay? Well, actually, I'm going to turn it completely over. And I'm going to install the ESCs, okay? Okay, see the wires for the motor. We're going to plug these in. I think it's kind of frayed a little bit. I have to fix that. Okay. Anyway, okay. That's how simple it is. Okay. Now, this is what is crucial. Now I'm going to turn it on its side like this. Okay. And the reason for that is because you have to make sure that the motor is spinning in the right direction, because I need to feel the thrust coming this way and not this way. Okay, the thrust needs to be coming this way, not this way. Okay, so in order to do that, let me get my battery. I need the battery, transmitter, and a receiver. Okay, in fact, I'm gonna use this receiver. Remember the receiver in the beginning? That is now binded. Okay, now what I'm going to do is we're going to plug this ESC into channel 3, okay? Plugging it into channel 3, okay? Now, once I put that in channel 3, then I'm going to, I'm going to turn on the transmitter. Transmitter's on. Now I'm going to plug in the battery, okay? I'm sorry, plug the ESC in. Okay. Make sure negative, negative, positive, positive, okay? You hear that beeping noise? Now that's just letting you know that everything is properly hooked up in the computer, in the transmitter, and the receiver. They're all communicating with each other. Okay, now what you're gonna do is, at this point, you're gonna hold the frame and you're going to give it some throttle, okay? Just to see which direction the thrust is. It should be blowing in this direction, okay? So let's see. And it is. Okay? If you want to see, let me hold up this piece of paper here and I turn it low and you can see. See? Okay, so that ESC is wired correctly. Now, let me unplug it. I'm just gonna unplug the wire. Let me first turn off let me unplug it first. Unplug the power supply, which is the battery. Let me unplug the receiver. Okay, now what I'm going to do is this. I'm gonna turn off the transmitter because I don't need this anymore. It's done. Okay, now what you're gonna do is this. You're gonna tuck the transmitter. You're gonna tuck the ESC into these little sleeves. I designed these little sleeves. That's what these are for. To put the ESCs in these little sleeves. Okay, and the way you're gonna go about doing it is you're gonna push these in, and then you're gonna slide this in like this. And you want, because there's enough room in there for them, but you want these wires to come out on the other side. Okay, let me do this. Oh, let me turn this around. You know, so there's a little lump, because you see there's actually I believe this will be this little lump right here. I believe that's a capacitor or something. But anyway, you want to turn this because you want all this to fit inside here. Oh, but you want to move this out this way because you want this. Let me see. Let me get this in there. Okay, because it's a tight fit. I'm gonna tell you that now. It's a tight fit, but it does fit. It does fit. Okay, so let me push this. Let me hold up because it is a tight fit. Let me push that down like that. Okay, there we go. And then, oops. It's caught right there. Yeah, and then we push this here. Oh, and then these go. This is right here is going to be coming out of that slot. Okay, this slot here. Let me get this all the way. Let me pull this back out again because you're gonna have to play with it until you get it in there because it does fit. It will fit in there. Let me push them in there first like that. Okay, and then I can go this way. Okay. Just play with it until you get it just right. Now these wires here have to come out on this side here. Okay, there we go. And you can adjust the wire. Okay, now as you can see, so these two wires here are going to hook into the distribution board, and this is going to plug into, into the flight controller. This plug right here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do, as you can see, it's in there. The wire is, the ESC is tucked in there. See how it's tucked in there? In the sleeve. Okay. Now, and see how it's coming out this way, right here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other three off camera, and then I'll come back to continue the build. Okay. Now, as you can see, all the ESCs are now tucked in these little sleeves that I designed. As you can see, they all tucked, because I said I was going to do this off camera, okay? So, as you can see, they're all tucked. This is the bottom of the frame, as you can see. All four of the motors. Now, I'm going to flip it over. This is the top, okay? Now, let's move on to the next phase of the build. And that is to install what I refer to as lid cover B, okay? So, and this is pretty crucial in installing this next part. It's a 3D printed part, okay? And like I said, it's called the lid cover A. I'm sorry, lid cover B, okay? Now, let's move on to the build. Now, this phase of the build is just the wire harness assembly. As you can see, the on and off switch. I'm using an XT60 connector right here. And these are quick connects right here. I think these are a quarter as far as in the size. And I'm sorry, I forgot what size the bullet connector is. But anyway, as you can see, how the harness is basically in 3 parts in addition to the connectors, and this is how it's going to be assembled. Right here and here, okay? And that's the way the assembly should be. Okay, that's the assembly. Put it about right here so you can kind of see. Okay. 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 And that completes the harness assembly. Now the next phase of the build is to tie all the motors together by plugging them into this right here is the distribution board right here, okay? And all the motors are going to be tied into this. Now, and also this right here is going to be attached to this part right here, the 3D printed part, and it's called this is lid cover B, okay? And this is going to cover the bottom of the drone, okay? Because the drone will be almost completely built in a minute. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is we're going to start by plugging in the harness control. I'm sorry, the harness, the wire harness rather, into the distribution board, okay? And it will go into, okay. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna float this board, because once everything is wired up, well, I should say once I put this cover on, bolt this is like to bolt the cover, I'm sorry, the lid cover B on, there's not going to be, like right here, there's not going to be any room, okay? There's not going to be, like, let me flip it back over. It's not going to be a lot of room to work in, okay? So what I'm going to do is, let's orientate it, okay? This is the front right here. This right here, you can see front right there is upside down, but that's front, but I'm coming through the bottom. I'm installing the bottom, but this is the front right there. So Oh, I knocked all the screws over. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to float this in, okay? So what I'm going to do, let me flip this back over. Take this off. Keep this close by, okay? Now, what I'm going to do, let me see, this is front. I'm going to make front, because this is where the on and off switch is going to go right here, okay? So we're going to put this in like this. We're going to float this like this, okay? So we're going to start by wiring all the motors, all the motors up as far. Let me move these screws out the way. I don't need these screws right now. Okay, so let's get that, plug them all in, okay? And make sure negative to negative, positive to positive, okay? See how this like this here? Okay, so we're gonna do this. Okay, so let me see, should I go right here? I'm gonna go further out. Okay, this here. And then the same goes over here. Let me get over here. And, oops, not right there. I don't want to plug that in. Because if you do, you plug them in wrong, your ESC is going to be smoking. Okay, you're going to burn out your ESCs if they're wired incorrectly. So you want to make sure they're wired correctly. Okay. And then this one right here will plug here, and then this here, right here. Okay, and move these out the way. Okay, and then here with this wire here. Let me get this one out the way. Okay, put that there. Okay. Okay. As you can see, all wires are plugged into the distribution board. Okay, now you want to push this wire here this way. This should be out this way. Oh, another thing too, there's another part that you have to put on here. It's called a cage bracket that goes over this, because that's the bolt down to here. So let me come back with that particular 3D printed part. Okay, I'm back. Here's the part I was talking about, called a cage bracket. Okay, and what this does, where this goes is, let me unplug this right here. The cage. I'm sorry, the harness, the wire harness, and you're gonna slide this in, make sure it's going in right. Okay, there we go. Because see, it's wider on this side and it's small on this side, so you want the wires coming through this side. Okay, like this. Okay, and it kind of snaps in. You know, you'll feel it goes in. Okay, now I can wire this back up here. Now all of this is gonna go back down this way, okay? And then this is gonna be plugged up right there. And remember, all the motors are spinning in the right direction, so I don't have to worry about disassembling to wire them in the right way. Okay, here we go. And then just double look, or take a double check rather, to make sure all of these are wired right. Okay, because you're gonna get a second chance. Okay, alrighty. Now, and then push this through here like that. Okay, now here's another thing that you want to pay close attention to, you know, and kind of force this down in there. Okay, and then what you want to do is pull all the wires out. Okay, pull all these wires out, because you're going to need all these wires out. Okay, and you'll see why, what I'm about to do. Okay, all these wires are out. Okay. And in fact, always remember, okay, let me see where the front at. Because I need the front. That's not the front. Oh, here go the front. This is the front. Okay, this is very important to do this. Okay, the motors, remember the motor, this first motor we started with, that's the clockwise spinning motor. That's motor 1, okay? So you can pull this out for motor 1. And then this was the next motor, which is the counter clockwise spinning motor, and that is motor 2. So that's 2. And then it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now this is where it gets a little tricky, because now you're going to install the bottom this is called the lid cover B, but there's a front on there, so you want to make sure that you see it right there, it says front, and here front is there too. Okay, that's where the front is. Now what you're going to do is this. If you notice this little part right here, it's got these little slots in it. If you can look, them slots are actually numbered from 1, 2, 3, 4. And what you're going to do is this, because this is to help you to make sure you properly orientate when the time comes, so you'll know which wire is which. Okay, so you're going to do this. The wire 1 for engine 1. Let me see. What we're going to do is we're gonna flip this back over upside down. Okay. And just remember, this is motor 1. This is 1. So everything kind of goes in reverse a little bit. Okay. Well, actually, we got to flip it over. Okay. And in fact, you know what? We could probably put it on the side. How about that? Okay. Now this is going to be a little tricky to pull this off. Okay. Because we have to make sure. Now this is going to be very crucial. Okay. So this right here is going to go like this. Let me make sure so I can fit it right. Okay. Okay. That's about right. Now what we're going to do is this. These wires here, because it's going to come through, it's coming on this side like here. So these wires here, like this is, remember this is wire 1. So what we're gonna do is, let me do this. Let me push this back out this way. Okay, let me do this. In fact, I don't want to wrap it this way. And let me do this. Oh, okay, it's not on there. Oh yeah, it is. I don't want it like that. I don't want it. Okay. Yeah, this. Now you're gonna have to have a little patience doing this. Almost like threading a needle. Okay. We got this here. Okay. That's motor 1. Remember, this is 1. Yeah, this is 1, motor 1. And let me see. I want to make sure this is right. Okay. No, that's not motor 1. I'm sorry. Looking at it this way, this is actually motor 2. This is motor 1 right here. This is motor 1. Okay, this is, okay, motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, then motor 4. Okay, now, so this is the front right here. And, okay, now this is, and that's the front. Whatever. Okay, it's right here. Okay, there we go. Okay, now what we're gonna do is, because it's so tight in here, so what I'm gonna do is, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to do it on camera, so I'm gonna do it off camera, and then I will just bring it back so you can see exactly how it's supposed to be wired. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do, I have to make a design change a little bit, because I decided I'm going to eliminate this part right here. So to make the build a little bit more simpler. So, and the reason why, because at this point, all I have to do is flip this over, make sure all the leads to the ESCs are coming out of the front, or I should say the top of the unit. Even though it's still floating, it should float like that. And then just kind of press everything down nicely. And then what I'm going to do is to make sure that I put this on, but like I said, I got the front here. So let me see where front is. Okay, front is right here. Here's front right here. So this right here is gonna go like this, okay? This is gonna go on like this, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is, once I put that on like that, then I'm going to press all these parts, all this in, but I'm gonna do it off camera, okay? Okay, where I'm at now is I pretty much got everything in, as you can see right here. Remember I mentioned about the cage bracket, that's in. That's so I have access to be able to plug the battery in, okay? And you can see the screw that's holding that bracket in. And you notice I put some screws in just to hold the backing down. Okay, when I say backing, I'm talking about the lid. This is the lid cover, B, okay? So what I have to do, what I'm doing now is I'm securing, as you can see, the distributor, I'm sorry, the distribution board right here, and I'm using these screws here, and it's about 4 screws that it takes. Uh-oh, put it in the wrong hole. Let me pull that out. Well, it was actually a screw already there. I gotta just tighten that screw down. Okay, that screw is tightening down. Okay, now I gotta put this screw here. The hole sort of screwed up on the very end, okay? Because you can see it's like 2, I don't know if you can see it, but there's 2 holes, one here and one there. This hole here is where the screw goes. So I need that last screw. No, screw it. This in here? Yeah, here it is, right here. The last screw is right. Let me see. Oh, it goes right here. Okay. Let me screw that right there. This to secure the distribution board down. Okay. And try not to over tighten the screws so you don't break parts. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Okay, that's tight enough. Okay, that's tight enough. Put it here. Come on. Okay, that's tight enough. Okay, everything is installed, as you can see. In fact, the on and off switch can come off now. You can take that off because of the rest of the installation, okay, the way it has to be installed. Actually, I could have had this screw, this wire here should actually be over here. See, it's going straight across right here, and it's kind of tight. It actually should be over here. And in fact, I'm going to make that adjustment, but I'm gonna spare you guys, okay? So I'm gonna do this off camera, but I'm gonna bring that wire over here, okay? Okay, to resume the build, well, everything is wired up. And what I did was, you look right here, here's the wires to each ESCs, okay? I just kind of stuck them in the propeller just to keep them out the way. Now these 2 wires, you know, goes to the on and off switch. These 2 wires here, okay? Everything else is wired in, as you can see. And also, as you can see, The distribution board is bolted down properly, so that's fine. And as you can see, all connections are wired or plugged in appropriately. See, negative to negative, negative, I'm sorry, positive to positive, positive, negative, negative, positive, and then right here, positive, positive, negative, because you gotta make sure that this is wired properly, because if it's not, you're gonna burn up the ESCs, okay? And I have done that more than I like to. Okay, now here is the oh, and not to mention the plate. Not call it the plate. The lid cover B, as you can see, is all bolted in. See the bolts? I put all the bolts in. Okay, they're all bolted in. And what I'm going to do is, now it's time to install the lid cover A. This is lid cover B. There's a lid cover A, and that's the next. In fact, yeah, that's pretty much is almost the final to this particular build here. So I can pull all this out. I mean, you don't have to do this. I just, you just want them out of the way. You don't have to do what I just did by putting them in there. You just need them out of the way, but you need to be able to know which one is which. Okay, so all of them are out. Okay, now put this down, and that completes this build. And I do want to stress, it wasn't the most friendliest build doing this, because it's so tight in here. But like I said, you have to float this first before you put the backing on. I should say the lid cover on. So, but as you can see, it will fit, but it's real tight. Okay. This structure here did serve a purpose, but I'm going to eliminate this from the design. Okay. Now, with that said, I'm about to go and get the the lid cover A, okay? And because this right here is going to be installed on lid cover A. So I'm gonna shut down the build for now until I go get the cover, and then we will resume from there. Okay, I'm back. Remember, lid cover A had the flight controller, remember? So the first thing I do is take the on and off switch, and I'm gonna snap it. See where that little opening is? I'm gonna snap that in there. Okay, see how it snapped in? Okay, and if I turn it over, you can see how that looks from the back side. Now, this is very important. If you look here, you'll see M1 all the way down to M4. That means motors, okay? The M stands for motors. Now, what I'm going to do is this. First, I'm gonna orientate the copter itself, well, I should say the drone itself, define the front. Let me see where the front is. Okay, all right, here's the front right there. That says front. So I'm gonna do it from behind. So this is the front, remember? This here is the front. So the way I'm gonna do is this. Remember, this is motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, motor 4, okay? Okay, now the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna plug up the on and off switch, the power switch, okay? So we're gonna plug that up first. Let me slide that in there, okay? Oh, yeah, well, yeah, because that's the front, yeah, okay. That's slide in there, okay. Now what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna take not all the wires. We're gonna get, okay, remember this is wire 1. We're gonna put that through 1, okay? And then wire 2 is gonna go through 2. We're gonna put in the slot 2, see? Right here, wire 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and then 3. This is 3. It's gonna go through, okay? And then 4. This is wire 4, and that's going to go in slot 4. Okay. Then we're going to just pull these in, pull them out. Okay. Alrighty. Now we're going to press this down. See how this got to get pressed in? This is going to get pressed in. So I'm going to pull this out here and kind of slide it up under here. Make sure everything is tight. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to put the bolts. The bolts goes right in here. See, it's going to be 8 because it's 16 altogether because this 2 and 4 and 4. That's 8. No, I'm sorry. 4. Let me see. 4. Oh no, it's 8. I'm sorry. 8. It's going to be 8. So 4 over here, 4 over here. That'll be 8. So I got to get the 8 screws. I had them sitting up here, but I moved them. So I'll be right back to get the screws. Okay, I'm back with the screws. So let me start putting the screws in. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put all the screws in off camera, okay? To save the board, to save you from boredness. I mean, being bored rather, because it can get a little boring just to be sitting there watching me put these 8 screws in. So I'm gonna install the screws off camera, and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I'm back. Now, this phase of the build is to connect all the motors to the flight controller. And here's all the motors, the leads, or I should say the ESCs, okay, to the flight controller, okay. So we could start with, we could do this first. Let's do this. We can press them in. They don't need to be out this long, okay. We can press them all in, okay. Not too far in because we want to hook them up first, okay. And since we already know which motor is which because they're already labeled right here, okay. So we're gonna hook this one up first. Now remember, when it comes to the signal wire, remember the signal wire on this one it'll be yellow. Here it's white, and it has to face the screen, okay. So let me make sure. Sometimes it's kind of hard to see, but okay, I think I got that right. Okay, that's the first wire. That's motor 1. We just plugged in 1. Now here go motor 2. Okay, that's motor 2. Okay, now let's do motor 3. Because the pins are already numbered. The first pin, that top pin is pin 1, then pin 2, and then 3, 4, and so forth. Okay, now let's plug in. Okay, that's 3. Let me push that down. That's 3. And now let's do the 4th one, the last motor. Let me get the last motor. Okay, alrighty, that's the last motor. Okay, so now all the motors are plugged in, and that concludes this stage of the build. Okay, and we can do, let's do a power up to make sure everything gets wired, and let's cross our finger for nothing smoking. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's cross our fingers to make sure everything is wired properly, because if not, something gonna burn, okay, and which will be the ESCs. All right, we're gonna turn it over, and you see the which now is like an outlet, but that's that with a TX 60 connector. Remember? Now let's do this. I'm gonna plug this in. Let's plug this in and see what happens. Okay, it's on, it's off. Whew. I didn't know if it was gonna be off or on, okay? Now, oh, you know what? Oh, I can worry about that. Let's turn on the transmitter first. Okay, now let's turn this on. Here goes nothing. Okay, so far, no, nothing smoking. Okay, now let's fire up the engines, or let's fire up the motors. Oops. Okay, it's armed. Okay, there we go. All four motors work. Okay. So let's turn it off. Alrighty. The next thing we have to do is install the battery tray. And then this build will be complete. But then there's only one more thing to add, and that would be for the landing gear, okay? That's another that's the bottom frame, as I refer to as frame B, okay? Okay, so let me turn off the transmitter. Let me unplug it, and let me go get the battery tray, okay? Okay, I'm back. This is the battery tray right here. So what I have to do is, I forgot the strap. Okay, let's put the strap on. Gotta get the strap on. Hope I put that. I always be putting these things on wrong. Let me see. Oops. Yep. Let me go this way. Is it this way or is it out this way? I think it's out this way. Okay, yep, that's right, it's right. Alrighty. Now I gotta take this. And these are the screws I've been using, okay? I don't know if you can see. Now, as far as the distribution board, I'm using button heads. You know, this one's a flat head, but like I said, for the distribution, it's going to be, instead of being a flat head, it's going to be a button head, okay? Or you know, I don't know. I guess you could say a button socket head, you know. So anyway, and then on top of that, all the screws I'll be using will be at least a 16 millimeter. Except I think there will probably be maybe 10, I guess, 10 millimeters. But anyway, I mean, you can assemble the entire project with 16 millimeters, okay? So let me get started. In fact, oh, another thing too, what I didn't do when it comes to the battery, what I call it, the battery tray, that should have been installed onto the on the lid cover B. It should have been installed on there first, you know, because you don't want to run the risk of damaging the flight control board. So with that said, I'm going to show you there are these 4 holes as it is going to sit at the bottom, okay? And I like to have this on the opposite side, okay, like this, okay? So the holes is like this. The screws go here, and as you can see, the screw holes, they go one of the holes right there. I don't know if it's over the hole. Let me see, is it over? Because normally, okay, I was trying to sit it right over. There we go. I think that's over it now. Don't move. Okay, I believe it's there. There we go. There we go. And then, and I'm using 4 screws to hold that down. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. And I'll just do the rest of them off camera. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, the battery tray is attached. Okay, here, let me strap this in right here. Put that right there. Pull that around. Okay, now the next phase would be to attach. Remember I mentioned about the second frame? This is the second frame. This is B. This is frame B. And the way I attach this would be by way of sitting this inside here. Okay, that it basically fits almost perfect. Well, it fits perfectly. Okay, and then all I got to do is, let me see. Oops, let me see. This one ain't in. Let me get this one in. Hold up. Let me do this, cause it do fit. There we go. There we go. It's in now. You heard that snap, didn't you? Okay. Now the whole thing is pretty much, that's it. All I gotta do now is, you see here, I put screws in here, and it's 4 of them. See, 4. So I'm gonna put the screws in off camera, but let me show you exactly. I'll put 1 in, and then I'll put the rest of them in off camera. And just in case if I don't mention, I'm gonna try to put this information in the description, rather, to show you where I got all these parts from. Now the motors themselves, I got the motors off of eBay. The flight controller, I got the flight controller from eBay. And let me see, the on and off switch I got from eBay. And the ESCs I got from eBay as well. So I guess I pretty much got everything from eBay. Okay, as you can see how the screw is going in perfect. Okay, see how the bolt, how it's going in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other. Well, now since I put 1 in, I got 7 more to go, and I'll put those in off camera. All right, I'll be back, because I'm getting close to the final phase of the build. Okay, so I'll be back in a minute. Okay, now it's time to complete the build, and I will be completing the build in addition to the landing gear. Is actually when the build is completely completed. However, I'm about to put this part on there. This part is called a guard block, and what this part I designed it for is to protect the flight controller. Okay, so it fits over. See how it fits over the flight controller, and then it gets bolted in right here, right here, right here. Put a screw there, and I'm gonna put a screw across here. Oh, is it in? Yeah, there it is. Okay. And put this screw here. And then put the last screw in. I haven't tightened the screws down, okay? And they don't have to be too tight. Like I said, you don't want to over tighten and damage parts. Okay, let me get this one all the way down. This time I will put all the 4 screws in on camera this time for once. Okay. I know I did all the rest off camera, but I'm gonna do these 4 on camera. I'm not putting them in tight. Yeah, so this right here, what I'm putting on, as I explained before, this is called a guard box. And this is to protect the flight controller. Because like right now, if you try to fly it, and if you can get it flying, and it flips over, you can damage the flight controller, which I have done on previous models designs I've done. Now here is the guard box hatch, and it snaps on. So you just put this like here, and it just snaps on. There we go. It snapped on. Okay. And the reason for that is you might want to be able to gain access to the flight controller, so you can just pop this off, so you can get in there and do whatever you need to do. In the meantime, I'm gonna put it right back on. Okay, there we go. It snapped on. Okay, it's kind of tight fit, but it snapped. Okay, well, I'm gonna put the landing gear on. Unfortunately, the landing gear that I had, it broke. But I have another set. But the set that I have is the landing gear kind of short. But that's okay though, because I already start designing them to be a little longer, which they was until I accidentally broke it. But that's okay. I'm going to install them anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay. So let me go get the landing gear. Here are the landing gear. Okay, here's the landing gear. This is what the landing gear looks like. And what I'm going to do is this. There are some slots here. I can sit this on top. I ain't got to worry about damaging the flight controller. Okay, it's some slots right here. See right here, these little slots here. You're going to take these and you're going to slide these down. They just slide right into these little slots. Okay. As you can see, they're kind of short. Oops, flip that over. Like this. Okay. See how that's snapped in? Okay, now another thing too, when it comes to, because the battery is going to sit in here, and then you're going to plug the battery into, right now it's a receptacle right now, okay, right there. But there is a cover. I have what is called what I call it, a battery. It's a what is it, the battery hatch, battery cover? I forgot what I call it. Let me see. Well, I'm gonna call it the battery cover for now. And this is what it looks like. And what you do is, there's some like little slots right there, and you're gonna slide these, and here go the, this is gonna fit into the slots, okay? These little ledges right here. So let me see, there you go. Then you're gonna turn it and it locks, see? Okay, so now as far as the landing gear, let me turn it over like that. Oh, one of the landing gear fell out. Now as far as the landing gears are actually bolted on as well, okay? That's the landing gear. Okay, now I'm gonna put those screws on off camera, okay? But right here, there's some, I'll put one in for you so you guys can see. Get all my screws, okay. I'm sorry, I'm just all over the place. Okay, a lot of times what I do is sometimes I'll put the screwdriver in there to kind of open it up a little bit, because I'm creating the threads as I go. Nothing is threaded until I put a screw in. I use a little force to do this. Let me see. Come on. There we go. It's going in now. Okay. There we go. Going down, huh? And I'm gonna do the other three off camera. And it's so that the landing gear doesn't fall off in flight. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, it's tight now. It's in. So I'm gonna do the other 3 off camera. And as you can see, the build is pretty much complete. That's it. As you can see, so you can see a little bit better. As you can see, the Europa Lander is complete. That's it. Let me turn it like this. Uh-oh, see how the leg came off. I'm gonna put the other screw so that doesn't happen again. But yeah, but that's it right there. Okay. So let me go put those other screws in and to complete the build. And one gonna fall back out. And this right here, you just turn this. You turn it clockwise. Turn it clockwise to lock it. Turn it counterclockwise and pull it out to get access to the battery, so you can take the battery out to charge it. Well, that completes the build. So, let me put this on. So it just fell over. Put this back. Okay. That completes the build. The next would be, the next thing would be a maiden flight. To see if we can get this thing to fly. Okay. And after we do the flight, that's pretty much it. And that will end the build completely. So cross your fingers. Let's see what happens. This video is to show much clearly how to arm and disarm the flight control board using the stick of the transmitter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by plugging the battery in. Okay, the battery is plugged in now. Okay, now what I'm going to do is this, because I got to hold this because I don't want this thing to take off. Okay, now, okay, I got it plugged in. Okay, oh, yeah. Now the next thing to do would be to cut the transmitter on. As you can see, the transmitter is cut on. Now, the next thing would be to turn on. As you can see my thumb over here, see my thumb over here on the model. I'm gonna turn on the flight control board. Okay, it's on and it's saying safe. Okay, let me see if I can show you that it's showing you that it's saying safe. Come on, focus. Doesn't look like it's focusing. Okay, but it's saying safe. Okay, it didn't focus. Okay, well, the next thing is to arm it. Now the way I'm going to arm it is, here's the stick. Now we're going to use the right stick, because you see you got left and right. I'm using the right stick. Okay, I'm sorry, the left stick. Got it all wrong, don't I? This is the left, this is the right. Okay, I'm going to move the stick to the right and it should arm. Okay, you see the red light come on, and I don't know why it's not focusing, but there it is, armed. Okay, now after I arm it, now the next thing would be, okay, now to unarm it. Okay, yeah, I waited too long. That's a safety feature. It unarmed itself, so we got to start over. Okay, but to unarm it is to move it to the left. Okay, to right is to arm it. The left is to unarm it. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it to the right. I'm sorry, move it to the right. And then when I move it forward, that's gonna give it power. Okay, here we go. See? and go. And the further I push it, the more power I get. So now I'm gonna turn it down. I'm gonna turn it off. Okay. Now the power is off. And with the power is off, I just turn the throttle all the way down to 0. Now I'm gonna turn off the flight board. Okay. Well, I ain't gonna say turn it off. I'm gonna, let me see, unarm it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna unarm it. So I'm gonna move this over. I'll move it to the left to unarm it. I get my right and my left all mixed up. Okay, now once again, right, arm, left, unarm. Okay, and to shut the flight board off, this is what the on and off switch is for. There we go. So that's off. I'm gonna unplug it. And now I'm gonna turn the transmitter off. Now the transmitter is off. Okay. Now that concludes the arming and the disarming of the flight board. Now I'm about to show you how to plug in the battery before flight, and then unplug the battery to have the battery recharged. But we first have to start with, let's flip the model over, and remember, clockwise locks on this. I'm sorry, this part was about to remove. The part that I'm about to remove is called the battery cap. Okay, now when you turn it clockwise, it locks, but when you turn it, when I say lock, see, you can lift it up, but when you turn it counterclockwise, it comes off. Now, as you can see the strap, which you have to take it loose, and if you notice where you see the receptacle or the outlet right here, I like to just go ahead and plug it in, plug the battery in. Okay, now I got the battery plugged in, and then I'm going to sit the battery in the tray. Okay, in the battery tray. Okay, oops, let me move this over. Okay, hold up. There it is. It's in the tray, and then I'm gonna thread it through the other side. Right here. There we go. Got it. Now I'm gonna pull the strap tight. You know, because it's like a Velcro. It's got Velcro on it. It's really a Velcro strap. Okay, there it is. See? Now the battery is plugged in, and now it's ready to fly. Now, when you're ready to remove the battery, to recharge the battery, well, let me get right here. You're going to take the strap loose, pull it out, and then there you go. Unplug the battery and take the battery out. Now it's ready to be recharged. So this is going to end this instructions on how to remove the battery, and I'm going to just put the battery cap back in place, and that concludes this instructions on how to plug in the battery when you're ready for flight and unplug the battery when you're ready to charge the battery or recharge the battery. I will assemble the landing gear with these 3 parts. This will be part A, part B, and this will be part C. But we only need one. Okay, so let me cut this loose, because we only need one. Okay, there we go. I'm using an X-Acto handle. This is a blade number 11. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, now we don't need all 3. We only need but one. Okay, we're done with the cutting. Now the next step would be to use, I got some CA glue. Okay, we're gonna take some CA glue, put a little CA glue, on part C. You can see the little glue on it. Then we're going to take this and we're going to insert this in. Okay. Okay, there it is. Now that's inserted in. Now we're going to take some more glue and we're going to put it here and here, and we're going to put it on the base. Okay, now I'm going to put part A, insert part A in here, as you can see. There we go. And there we go. And push the whole thing together and let it sit and dry, and it'll be good to go. So that completes the landing gear assembly. I'm glad to see that you made it to the end of the video, but it doesn't have to be the end. Now, if you would like to build this drone yourself, you can, because I have made all my parts available for purchase at my Shapeway shop. And all the information I will post that at the end of this video. So with that said, thanks again and have a good rest of your day. Bye.